Here we go. Now look at this. Beautiful little spot to take a little rest. Maybe hop out on that rock or something and have a bite. I'm going to stop right here and grab a little bit of water. Yeah, see, unlike Pat, I am not on the go hydrating. I am requiring, I hope that doesn't fall over backwards.
And this is one of the nice things. If you're hiking with a group and they're all seasoned hikers, having this will keep you from having to stop and then try to have to catch up with them later. You can kind of take little sips as you go along. I'm not proud. I always look for the easy route.
Yep.
Especially if you're on a really long hike, it can save some energy.
Oh yeah, that's hugely important. When I was mountain ranger up there in the Pecos Wilderness in New Mexico, one of my tasks was to teach the hikers and horse packers about low impact and no impact travel and camping and hiking. Mm-hmm. And one of the things was the horse packers would always ride around the bogs because they didn't want their horses and mules' shoes to get sucked off in those bogs. But it just made them bigger and bigger, and it was a constant problem. So we tried really hard to put down boardwalks and stuff where there were known bogs that were heavily traveled. But also it helped because people said, oh, I didn't realize this was causing erosion. We just thought it would grow back. And instead we're saying, no, this actually would take 40 or 50 years to recover. And it may never recover unless we reroute the trail, which requires a lot of Forest Service resources that we just don't have right now. And they were generally pretty cooperative. And more than once I've had to nail a shoe back on a horse with a rock.
Oh,
here. Now I'm going to hop down and go take a little. So we'll pick. Oh, froggy!
Oh, how cool.
Froggy!
Oh yeah, little teeny one.
The little froggy.
Yeah.
So grateful I didn't step on him. He was right under my feet. Now these shoes are just old enough. They don't have that much tread on them anymore. We'll come out here and take a little view. Come down. Do you ever stop and snack out, or do you have a favorite spot up the road?
There's a picnic table up there.
Oh,
and the Magic Gorge. If I do the loop, I like to sit right down on the rocks right over the mountain. I used to go rock climbing there.
I love rock climbing.
Yeah. That was a while ago, but that was so much fun. So there's some lovely spots there too.
Okay.
Well, this is a definitely good one.
Where would you go? The trail?
I mentioned earlier, not today, but in her introductory episode, about the importance of carrying an emergency kit, and one of the items she has in it is duct tape.
Yes.
Well, I will tell you that duct tape has come in very handy for me. Mostly not because of myself, but because of people I've been hiking with.
What kind of things have you been able to
solve
miraculously?
I was hiking with a friend in the Shenandoah. We were doing the White Oak Canyon Trail. We started at the Parkway, worked our way down, and we got about a mile down, and my friend starts laughing. And I said, what's funny? And he says, oh, I'll tell you about it later. And I said, no, you won't. You'll forget. He says, no, I won't forget. So we hiked about another mile, and I've already spoiled it. But anyway, he lifts up his shoe, and the sole of the shoe has come detached from the boot. And unfortunately, I did not have duct tape. I didn't have anything, and that we had to continue along. There was possibly a spare pair of shoes in the car, but he didn't want us to go back, and it turns out it's a good thing we didn't, because there wasn't a spare pair of shoes in the car.
Oh my goodness.
But I learned from that experience.
Always carry your duct tape.
And I was hiking with another friend at Harper's Ferry. And she and I had bought our hiking boots at about the same time. We had been out to Yosemite hiking, and we were getting ready for the trip, and we got these same hiking boots. So I guess it'd been quite a few years, and we're hiking along up the trail, and suddenly her sole comes detached from the boot. Now, I'm still wearing the same boots,
Right.
but something to know, they can dry rot if you do not use them. And that is what happened to my friend in the Shenandoah, was he had not used hiking boots for years, and they had dry rot.
I had the same issue. I had a very similar issue, only that I spoke about in my very first episode, in which I had not worn a particular pair of boots for a number of years, and the toe boxes, they were leather.
Oh yes.
The toe boxes had shrunk. That problem could not be fixed by duct tape.
Yeah.
So what's probably the most, the few top favorite peaks you've experienced all over the world? What are some of your most memorable peak hikes?
The most beautiful place I've ever been is El Chalten in Argentina.
Oh yes.
And probably a close second is Torres del Paine in Chile, which is all part of Patagonia. Those places are absolutely astonishing. The Fitzroy Peak, or Massif, is just one of the most gorgeous things in the world. And there's you can hike up to a lovely, lovely blue lake right at the base of it.
Now, these things you did with a hiking group?
Yeah, I actually did this in February 2022.
So just last year.
Yeah. So if you ever can get to El Chalten and do the hike up to, I think it's called Laguna de los Tres, that is just one of the most gorgeous hikes in the world.
Lake of the Three?
Yeah, and then there are other hikes in the vicinity and other lovely viewpoints, but we were lucky we stayed at Osteria right at the trailhead. So that cut out some of the distance that we had to go.
Okay. Is that the main advantage, or?
Oh, and the people there were lovely. And we were the only people there. This was, still some concern about COVID.
Right.
So people were being super, super careful. And our group, we had 9, plus a driver, some a guide. We all had our meals together, and of course, lunch was always outside on the trail.
Okay.
And the food was phenomenal. So
hold on, stop and pick up a little trash. So I always carry a little trash bag with me for other people's trash. We always leave a place a little better than we found it. So when you're traveling, you're also trying to get as much exposure to the local culture and peoples as you can. Is that correct?
Oh yeah, definitely like the food. Now, some of these trips I've been on are more cultural. Others are more adventure. But there are always stories that you hear from the guides that really fill in some of the gaps. Things you wouldn't know, but it's kind of fascinating to hear about the history of places and even the evolution of names, how things are named.
Oh, neat.
I guess another really cool place, 2 other really amazing places that where I hiked, and one was just a couple of months ago. Two, actually, were a couple of months ago. I did a hiking trip to the North Island of New Zealand, and we did parts of the Te Araroa Trail.
Thank you for joining us to hear all about Pat's adventures. We hope to see you again so soon. Bye-bye.